All right, guys, that's it from the company news here. We're going to move into our last section. Let's play the game here today. Let's have some fun with it. We do this each and every Tuesday. If you're out there, hashtag Team Tackle. We're playing the Queen's Court, and that's where the coaches who are on the show submit a pick to the Queen. Coach Emily Murray, head of the Dynasty Investors team over at the Trading Labs at Tackle Trading, as well as the Women in Trading Group, as well for several years. Emily, you're up. You're the queen. You get to hold court. I'm going to shush my mouth. Go ahead.
Are you not going to do the intro of what the Queen's Court is? So now I'm having to do the work myself? Okay.
Oh, that was bad.
Kim can't win. No. Well, this is always fun. So the Queen's Court basically is the guys will bring out a particular trade or stock and potential trade, strategy or however to go about it, mostly long-term investing or position trading. And it's up to me to judge whether I like it or don't like it. And ever since last week, I kind of like not giving you my answer until I've had all three of you present. So I will do the same again today, where I will have all of you present, and then I will let you know who is going to live or get their head chopped off this week. So I will go in the order of how somebody died last week. So I'll start with Mark, and then we'll go to Matt and Tim.
All right. So you know how I like a theme, right, Emily?
Yes.
I'm a thematic investor. I'm a thematic position trader. And then I focus on individual companies that I like within that general theme. And I love it when I get a double theme that's working for a company or in an area of the market. And from a broad market perspective, I don't like a lot of the themes out of there, but I still like there's several individual industry themes that I like. Let's just pull up the chart right now. My company pick is going to be SunRun, RUN. Now, SunRun is a company that I have had on my radar for 5, 6, 7 weeks now. I'm not much of a price chaser, even when I like something, and SunRun was going parabolic with so many other, clean energy stocks and other areas in the market. I'm just not a chaser. I wait for those deeper corrections, and then I wait for what I'm looking for. I got what I was looking for last week. So, you have so here's the theme in which I like SunRun. All right. So SunRun does residential solar panels. Now, the clean energy movement as a whole is here to stay. And I love when I am judging consumer behavior, because that's what we're dealing with here is consumer behavior. Are consumers going to buy more solar panels? Are they going to install them in their house at a increasing frequency? And I love when you see the general questions surrounding clean energy. They're all moving. I mean, this is an insight on me. This is well known. The world and consumers and more citizens are buying into the fact that clean energy as a whole is something that we need. What I particularly like about SunRun as well is a second theme. We have serious power grid issues here in the United States. The graphic example that happened down in Texas, the stresses that are happening in California. I mean, we have an aging infrastructure, and when you see these graphic examples happen, people die, right? People suffer during these episodes when they happen in extreme heat or cold. People turn towards reliability, sustainability, and reliability. And so reliability, when it comes to consumer behavior, I know it gets me thinking about it. I don't have solar panels installed, but it gets me thinking about it. And I think you see in the numbers that it's getting more and more people thinking about it. And so that desire for reliability and self-sustainability, I think, is a powerful secondary theme moving forward. And so we got good themes going with the company. SunRun is a cost affordable. I think they're well positioned within the industry. And so I love everything about the themes of this company. I love everything about the company itself. Morgan Stanley came out and jacked its price target to 91, raised it from 86 again, has some very nice things to add. If you want to Google that and add, I thought they were very compelling arguments. All right. So, and this is how I do it. So I find this theme, I find everything. That doesn't tell me I just go out and buy, right? I love a good reversal pattern, but then I love finding my signal of when I get in. I got that last week. So I have a month-long consolidation pattern after a multi-month downtrend. Classic reversal pattern I'm looking for. You got some higher lows rising up, and then you have a very clear break. You got an old support that was acting as new resistance, clear resistance line. It breaks last week. Love this. This is a textbook. Now, there are more than one reversal patterns I love, but this is a textbook reversal pattern that I just get excited about, that I just love. And I get 20 times excited about it when it's on a company in a space that I'm willing to own long term. Several ways to play it. You can play the momentum. Wouldn't fall to anyone. I'm thinking about doing it myself. I currently have naked puts back into the range. If I get a breakout, I don't want to miss out on this one. I want to be cash flowing this one for years to come. That's how I feel about it. It's a company that if it were to cut half in price, I would be excited. That's when I know I love a company, because I could add more. So I might even be buying shares if we get a breakout of current resistance, because I don't want to miss out on this one. There's the logic. There's the theme. There's the technicals. I present you SunRun.
Thank you very much. I will reserve my comments until everybody else has presented. So we will go with Matt.
Can I add to Mark's technically? It's up to you, Chuck.
Oh, absolutely.
I wouldn't be wanting to sell underneath anything underneath 46.5. Honestly, I think you got a very clean reversal here, and I agree with your assessment that you don't want to miss out here. And so when you got it, and I was drawing all the technicals basically as you were talking here, Chucky. Here's your resistance level on your reversal. That this box, that's what it represents. This line represents both your daily and your weekly trend line that got obliterated over here. That's positive. You had an increasing support level going into a horizontal breakout. It broke out on strong volume as well. It like the reversal is really clean here from a technical perspective. And you know, when you're looking like you said, Chucky, and again, what I'm going to say is based on what you said, but you said, I don't want to miss out and I want to cash flow on this for a long time. I don't think you need the breakout here. I think you got the confirmation last week with the breakout of 47.
And I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
If you're looking at covered calls here, you got the analysis to do it.
And I said that because like all of my analysis is from a very multi-year perspective. I know we have a lot of short-term traders.
Conservative with your, yeah.
You know, and so short-term traders, you know, if you're wanting confirmation of momentum or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But yeah, from my perspective,
you're looking long term here. You got the analysis, and what I always say, guys, when you're looking at swing trading, yeah, you got to be pinpoint. You got to be the market assassin. You got to use ATRs and highs of the days, and you got to identify support and where you're going to put a stop loss based on the ATR underneath support. But when you're looking at cash flow strategies, remember that's zone defense versus man to man. As long as you're in the zone, you're good to go. SunRun's in the zone, in my opinion.
I'm not leading the discussion. I almost got my head chopped off early. So
I was wondering if you guys could hear me. You all sat there, you cowards.
I'm like, this is
I was still talking about SunRun, and she's like, I'm not talking.
I'm not leading the discussion.
Hey, Em, I'll go.
Go ahead.
Cowards.
You are up next.
I'll go as I'm waving 3 stocks in both hands with fireworks. I don't know which one I'm going to select. No. I kid. Kind of, not really. I'm actually looking at 3 stocks here, 2 very similar to one another, both in bullish retracements, one a high base breakout, and I really like them all, but the analysis is pertaining to what we're seeing from a sector perspective, rotation coming back into growth, coming back into tech, coming back into discretionary, you know, and also coming back into those, like we talked about last week and this week, you know, what I think sparks my interest the most in this price movement is Apple, Microsoft, and those big dogs waking up. Like that really interests me because we've seen the strength of the market on the backs of those types of stocks when they run. Correct, guys? Mm-hmm. Right. And so that does interest me as well. But I was looking at the tech sector specifically, the discretionary sector specifically, and I like what they're both doing from a technical perspective, right? We're seeing rotation. Tech is breaking out fairly clean. Once again, still above that 144 handle. Discretionary looking really good as well. Got some interesting opportunities in the discretionary space. But even though I like the technical environment that this sector is doing, if you actually go and look at the individual components of the discretionary space, it's still a choppy mess a little bit, where you're still in some degree of analysis where it hasn't reversed or it's still hovering right underneath resistance, or you got some chop. Quite frankly, the sector looks better than the individual components, is my point. And so I want to stay away from discretionary just for Queen's Court. I like the sector, I like the movement, but there's not a lot of great clean charts in the discretionary space. And so that kind of led me to technology. And even though I'm not looking to add anything longer term, I do like a couple technical trends and patterns in the technology space specifically. Now, obviously, we like the NASDAQ, top-down analysis very quickly. We like the high base potential breakout in the NASDAQ. We like the S&P technology sector doing something fairly similar. And so I was looking, and this is not my pick, Em. I just want to put on people's radar more than anything else. But I was looking into it, and I love the cleanliness of the technical pattern that is forming up here, hovering on that 9 EMA, kissing up against a 480 breakout. I think that's a really simple, clean trade here. But I was looking for something a little different because I found quite a bit of high bases, quite frankly, this morning. Intuit was my favorite high base in the technology space, but I did find quite a bit of high bases there. What I have not found in recent history, and what is one of my favorite technical formations, though, is that traditional bullish retracement. And I found one, and again, this is not my pick, just want to put on people's radar a little bit. CommScope Holdings. Nice little bullish upward movement in price, good momentum in trend. You see the momentum here. It expands the momentum there. Nice bullish retracement, real clean support level here at $20. And so I was looking at CommScope, and I'm like, yeah, I like the $20 price level. I like the momentum behind the trend. I don't love the fading action here, and I don't love it slightly underneath the averages there. But I like it. I like it. And then I was comparing it against a very similar company in the same space as CommScopes, and so I was looking at a company. Some of you guys know, but maybe not everywhere. Juniper. You guys familiar with old Juniper here?
Yeah.
And what I liked about Juniper is it doesn't have the trend strength that CommScope has. But what it does have is, in my opinion, a more significant historical support level. Yes, CommScope has that $20 price threshold, but $20 is just a significant whole number. Now, Tim, I could do some Fibonacci stuff to make you really impressed, and I know how much you love Fibonacci retracements, but I could do the exact same thing here on Juniper. And so with Fibonacci being relatively similar on the two, I like the old breakout channel. Whenever I get an old breakout channel and I get a bullish retracement to that breakout channel, I like that technical moment in time. And so I like what's happening in the tech space. Juniper and Comms are two of the better stocks from a technical perspective in the the communication software space within technology. Both of them forming bullish retracements. I like the support zone at 27, more on Juniper. And quite frankly, I like the bullish retracement. You don't have this weird fading action that creates a tremendous amount of intraday chop. You got a clean intraday type price movement. Look at this nice little trend line going down. Look at it break out of that. You see the continuation. We're looking at a trigger most likely above 27.75. Stop loss placement, I'm going to go 25% of the ATR underneath 27. That gives you about $1 of risk here. Now, to justify the trade at T1, you need $1 return. Now, I can't hope for $1 return, but in a bullish retracement, once and again, the reason you wait for 27.75 is you wait for it to clear that little gap there that also gets above the moving average. So it clears the chop on the intraday trigger. Stop loss is under 27. T1 for me, because you don't have the random chop here in terms of creating intraday noise, T1 for me would be 29. So you got about $1.25 potential return for $1 risk on T1. So you have a positive return versus risk against the bullish retracement on T1. T2 would be, for me, it would be yield versus Fibonacci extensions. Where that's going to put you into the zone is between right there at about 30 to 31 is where it's going to put you into the zone. You're looking at a 2.5 to 1 reward to risk ratio in the zone at T2. So it's a swing trade. It's a standardized swing trade based on bullish retracement technical analysis, which has not been the best pattern. I'll be the first to admit bullish retracements have not been the best pattern in the pandemic recovery market. I kind of feel we're past the pandemic recovery market, and I personally have been approaching these markets much more traditionally technically now than I even did 6 months ago. I like Juniper from a short-term swing trading perspective. I like the zone of support at 27. I like the bullish retracement. That is my pick.
Thank you very much for the analysis on Juniper. Tim?
First of all, I love that technical breakdown, and the boys both brought it strong here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to compete with that. So, and one of the things I had planned coming into the day was to keep it very simple. Give me Microsoft. We're going to stick with the top of the market and the strength of the market. Matt has talked about the strength in tech for several weeks now, all the way through the battle that it had on the deeper retracement, the recovery, the comeback. If you've been attending the halftime report, and Emily, I know you're here
Stop
every
out
day.
day, bro.
Yeah, it is a beautiful.
Frank inspired me. Bear stop out day.
Since that bear stop out day, we've been seeing it develop and churn and trend. And here's Microsoft, one of the biggest components in tech, one of those big five, as they say, literally breaking out into a new all-time high. There's several things about the company that I'm interested in right now from a thematic perspective, not just the fact that it's Microsoft and in tech. They've had a lot of really interesting news in the last 6 months. Number one, if you can give me NUAN real quick, Matt, we're going to flash right back to Microsoft. They actually acquired Nuon Technologies earlier in the year. You see the gap out. Microsoft paid a premium in April. They announced that. They've been closing that deal throughout the year. Nuon Technologies is in the healthcare space, and they're looking to get into that area of the market, online delivery of healthcare information, advice, connecting with doctors. Here's a huge tech firm now moving into a new space like Microsoft has successfully done for 20, 30 years, quite frankly, Emily, when they want to go into gaming like they did with Xbox and all their different products. They become a dominant factor in that. Speaking of gaming, by the way, just a couple of weeks ago, they announced that as long as you have an Xbox controller, you can subscribe to Xbox One and Live for like $10 a month on a subscription basis, and you won't need the console in the future. They continue to innovate there. There's rumors around what they're doing potentially with Discord. Now, Discord may not want to take the acquisition, but I've heard $10 billion offers floated through the Wall Street Journal.
That's cheap for Discord.
It would be, absolutely. And Microsoft may be looking at an acquisition in one of the best gaming platforms, communication platforms in the space that they could do so many different things with. They're always on fire to go out and do new things and innovate. And guess what? On Thursday, Emily, first time in 6 years, they're announcing a new Windows release. Windows 11 is coming out on June 24th, creating a potential for a catalyst or a theme around it. Now, news can always make the short-term analysis, a little bit choppy or volatile, but that's not what we're seeing in the chart here. We're seeing a breakout into the new high. It was on the reports over the weekend on the option report with the coaches. Coach Tyler highlighted it in his video as well as the write-up. And look at the weekly and the beautiful longer-term charts. It's a juggernaut of a company. We know it. I remember even in March when we reported earnings in late March, and they'll have another, in April when they reported earnings, they'll have another earnings report coming up in late July, but they crushed those numbers again, hitting all-time revenue marks over $40 billion, $42 billion. They expect that revenue to go up in June to 45 billion as well. We know the strength of what they do. They are a money-making magnet. Cloud computing, healthcare services, their traditional offerings of software, which they now have a new product release around on the back of a tech breakout, on the back of the theme developing in the market. I don't think you want to miss Microsoft in general over the course of your lifetime investing, I think it's the kind of company that you should have right up there on your list. There's no question about it. Most people do have some kind of exposure to Microsoft, but right now, I like what's happening. I like what's happening technically. I like what's happening behind the company. And I think things are lining up for a good stretch in Microsoft. A lot of different ways to approach it. Great investment. Really okay, okay to trade it as a trade as well. I like it long-term because I love the themes and the fundamentals. That's the way I would approach it. And if you ever do get overextended, by the way, real good covered call candidate as well. So Emily, I'm going with the top of the market here, and I'm going to go to Microsoft.
All right. All right. Well, you boys are finally listening. When I say I like things simple, so nobody went out of tech, which is a good thing because I told you guys that that's kind of like, I mean, and I didn't have to tell you anything. I mean, that's where the trend is. That's where the money has shifted to over the last couple of weeks, right? It's been in tech. So, for you guys to go out and find, stocks that are in tech, which is, just about to break out if you look at the ETF. Good choices, all of them good choices. So like I did last week, I will leave it out to Team Tackle to determine if they want blood on the streets today or not. But I do love all of your picks, and I'll tell you why with each one. With SunRun, Mark, I've been interested in the solar space for quite some time. It's been on my radar. It's been on my watch list. If you look at the ETF TAN, TEAN, it's got a very similar chart to SunRun, right? You've got that breakdown, and then now here we are forming. We had that little breakout and that old support level. Now we're there at resistance, so it's looking very, very similar to Run. But what I like to do is I like to kind of see if there's anything that's been leading the ETF. Did some stocks already start to make a run for it? And I kind of want to go and see if that trend is happening. So if you look at Enphase, ENPH, which, by the way, if you do not follow Tackle on Twitter, you missed out on this one because I believe Coach Frank did highlight this last week. There you go. You can see that this is already running in front of the ETF itself, and you can kind of see what that trend is on that. So if you're looking at SunRun and looking at the ETF, this is kind of like what I expect for that to happen with those two. So I love it for that reason. It's it's an inexpensive stock. We can do very different things with SunRun, whether it's naked puts, covered calls, whatever the case. It gives you options to do a lot of things with that. So for Run, I cannot chop you off on SunRun. It's beautiful. I love it.
You're good.
It's an air that I'm looking
Appreciate
at. So you survive.
I live to serve.
Oh, do you?
Oh goodness gracious, that was a good one. I really thought you were going to try to just have me just chop you off just for the sake of it. I just felt like you wanted to die today, but you actually brought me something good. So not bad at all. Matthew Justice, Juniper. Tech sector, communications equipment industry, not a space I'm that familiar with. In fact, when you brought up Juniper, I was like, I know that company. I think they actually even had an office out here in Virginia.
For the most part, it's a fairly boring sector. Industry. It's not chock full of a lot of names you would just randomly know. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But I love it. I love it in comparison to COMM. Juniper is got a nice retracement. I like that it also pays a dividend. So even though it's not a very active space in the market, that dividend payout is not that bad at 2.92. Even if you were to hold on to that as a cash flow strategy or some kind of cover call or whatever the case might be. But for a swing trade, I also like it. I like the retracement as well. I don't know if I love it as much as I do SunRun, but I still like it. And for somebody who's looking for something in this space, I wouldn't knock them for doing that. But
honestly, if I was looking at SunRun versus Juniper and they were the same space, I'd like SunRun too. Really like the quality of the potential reversal on SunRun.
Yep. And with Microsoft and Tim, of course, he had to bring out Microsoft because he knows I love Microsoft. So had Tim not brought up Microsoft, I probably would have let you survive with Juniper, Matthew, but I can't chop off Tim with Microsoft. I've already
Didn't I
let
bring up
Matthew
Microsoft
live.
last week?
No, we did not have Microsoft last week.
I'm pretty sure I did. I want to check the tape on that.
I don't think that they brought Microsoft last week because what? Maybe no. What was it? It
I'm
was.
pretty certain I did.
Did you? Did you?
Uh-huh. I got to check tape now. Now I'm confused.
I would have remembered it.
Now I'm like, is this just one of my 4 a.m. moments where I thought I brought up
You
Microsoft?
dreamt about Microsoft, but you didn't bring
I
it up.
vent about Microsoft all the time, so it might have been one of those random moments too. I love this company too. You can't float anybody from Microsoft.
Yeah, I can't. I cannot. And so again, it's not. This is one of those things. It's not you. It's me. You know.
Listen.
And Tackle wants blood. Team Tackle wants blood. So I have to give him some blood.
Well,
I
hold
will
on.
gladly lay on my sword because if I was judging these 3 picks and somebody has to die, yes, I'm taking the popular SunRun that is reversing in a beautiful formation and perhaps the #1 greatest company in the world today, Microsoft. Yes, I do agree with who's going to have to die. So instead of you chopping my head off,
Yeah,
I
just
lay my sword in front of you and I lay
thank
down
you.
on it for you,
I
Mike.
did not want to have to, but you have done my job for me. So thank you very much. But really great picks. It's the tech sector. What can you not find in the tech sector that you can play this, this week and next week and in the next, if this trend continues, if the money continues coming into tech, what can you not play in here? So really go find something, and it's a stock pickers market, right, in tech. So go find something and play something in tech. But really great picks. If I have to chop off somebody every single week, I can't chop off somebody who brings out Microsoft, and that technical pattern on SunRun is just beautiful.